In this question, we have to determine the number of right-hand poles of the system with open loop transfer function g of s is equal to 10 by s power 5 plus 2s power 4 plus 3s cube plus 6s square plus 5s plus 3. Now, to apply Routh-Hurwitz, the first step that we have to do is determine the characteristic equation. So, the characteristic equation will be 1 plus, because since it's a because it is a unity feedback system, it is 1 plus GH, where H is equal to 1. So, it becomes 1 plus G. S power 5, S power 4, plus 3S cube, plus 6S square, plus 5s plus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so that will be s power 5 plus 2s power 4 plus 3s cube plus 6s square plus 5s plus 13 equal to 0. Now we have the characteristic equation. We have to construct the Routh-Hurwitz table. S power 5, S power 4. So this is 1 coefficient of S power 5, 3 is the coefficient of S power 3 and 5 is the coefficient of S power 1. Similarly 2 is the coefficient of S power 4, 6 coefficient of S square and 13 is the constant. Okay, so now 2 into 3 6 minus 6 by 2, so that is 0. Similarly here it is minus 3 by 2. Now if I have 0 here, in the further steps what I have to do, I have to divide by this particular value. So if it is 0, so I cannot proceed further. So what I will do, I will take this as epsilon, where epsilon is a very small positive value. Okay, so this is for s cube. Okay, so for s square it is 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon and then 13, and for s it is 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon into minus 3 by 2 minus 13 epsilon divided by 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon. Okay, and for s power 0 it is 13. Okay, now 1 is positive. Now to determine the number of RHP, we have to look at the sign changes in the first column. So we have to look at the sign changes in the first column. Okay, now this 1 is positive. Okay, 2 is also positive. Epsilon, I have already told you, it is a small positive number. So this is also positive. Now 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon. Since epsilon is almost equal to 0, I can drop 6 epsilon. Now 3 by epsilon is 3 by very small positive value. So that is also a positive value. So this is positive, 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 this is positive. Now 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon into minus 3 by 2 minus 13 epsilon by 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon. Now this 13 epsilon I can approximate it to 0 since epsilon is a very small value. Okay, so this is discarded. Now I can cancel this 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon with this 6 epsilon plus 3 by epsilon. So what I left here, what I have here is minus 3 by 2, which is a negative value. Okay, so this is negative and this is 13, which is positive. So if you observe closely, there are 1 sign change plus 1. So there are 2 sign changes, which means there are 2 RHP right hand poles.